Okay. I'm Bernie Lenz with the City of La Crosse. I'm the Assistant City Engineer. Carl Green here is with me with UW Extension. Randy Magno with Washburn Neighborhood Association put together the other part of the talk. Today he couldn't be here. He was at the first talk. So today we're talking about residential credits. We're going to talk the overview of the credit policy. It's not tracking my slide.
There it goes. Okay.
Sure, that would be fine. Today we're going to be talking about the stormwater utility credits for residential properties. At the end of the talk, we hope that you'll understand where the credits come from. You'll understand what you need to design and build and how to do that, and then what you actually need to do to apply for those credits. So go ahead. What we're not going to be talking about today is the commercial and industrial credits. We are trying to plan a workshop for contractors for those later. This is not a recall on the stormwater utility. The utility was passed in July of last year, became effective January 1st of this year. Billing has been delayed until August due to some problems with the compatibility of the land use records from the county and the utility billing database. These will be coming out on your utility bill, and we just need to get the billing system set up to send those bills out. And I'm not going to have a lot of pretty pictures. We're not here to convince you this is a good idea. This is a nuts and bolts workshop of what you need to do to get those credits, to receive those credits, to build the things that are going to treat stormwater. Is there a delay in it? Or?
There must be a delay because it's changed on the screen.
The stormwater utility, that's not the slide I have. Go back up one. So a stormwater utility is a user-based fee. You're paying for a service, and that service is the transport treatment of stormwater. So like any other utility, you pay based on the amount of service you are given. So the more stormwater you produce, the higher your fee. That's what the credit is about. If you can reduce the amount of stormwater coming off your property, you're going to reduce that utility cost. The stormwater utility, just like any other utility, electrical measures kilowatts, gas measures therms. Stormwater utility measures what's called an ERU, and what that is it's the average amount of water that runs off a residential parcel in the city of La Crosse in a year. So we went around the city, took 10% of the residential properties, and calculated the average impervious surface of those properties. The amount of water that comes off in 1 year is an ERU, and that's what your rate is based on. Credits, what you can do to reduce that utility rate is you can either clean the water or you can reduce the amount of water coming off. Water quality is the cleaning of the water. That's calculated in the ordinance. It says use a SLAM model to calculate the amount of sediment coming off your property. TSS is total suspended solid. If you remove that, you're removing everything else. You're removing phosphorus, you're removing oils, you're removing pesticides. It's hard to measure those other things. TSS you can actually measure with this SLAM model. Water quantity is based on the peak event of a 10-year storm. A 10-year storm is about 3 inches, just under 3 inches, and it's got this SES type 2 distribution. That's an engineering term of the type of rain to use, but basically what that means is the bulk of that rain comes in a 4-hour period. So it's a big deluge type event. If you can reduce the percent of the peak amount of water coming off your property, the peak flow off your property, whatever percent you reduce that, you get credit for. You can get 50% credit from either one for a combined total of 80. So you can get 40-40, 50-30, any combination of that you want. And the minimum credit we give residential properties is 40. So you have to have at least 40% reduction to start getting credits on residential properties. But these are a lot of engineering terms and gobbledygook, and we wanted to limit the administrative burden on you as well as the city. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the philosophy of the stormwater utility, how we did that. Without credit, it's no longer a utility. Then it can become a rain tax. You've heard that term, rain tax. It's not a rain tax because if you reduce the amount of water you produce, your bill goes down. That's the goal of this is to put a financial value to stormwater. If you're producing less stormwater, you're going to pay less for it. And that's what we want. Right now, there's no incentive financially to reduce the amount of stormwater leaving a property in the city of La Crosse. Stormwater utility changes that. If you think about any other utility, if there's no incentive to reduce the use, people wouldn't, and that's what's happening with stormwater. Stormwater utility should change that. The credits need to be high enough that people take advantage of them. If it's $1, you're not going to do the work. 80% is a pretty significant credit. That's what you can get. To keep administrative costs low, we could say you're required to have an engineered stamp plan for any credit, and it would probably cost you more to get that than the credit's worth. You wouldn't be able to go in your backyard. So we came up with and did the engineering calculations for you for rain barrels and for rain gardens. So for those 2 credits, a resident can kind of follow some simple A, B, C type things, which we're going to be going over today, and you get the credit. You just sign off saying, I followed your instructions, here's pictures, I get the credit. We also didn't want to limit innovation, so if you want to do anything else, there's a different person every day coming into my office trying to sell one of these products. There's thousands of them out there. If you want to use one of those products, we don't want to limit that, but then we want to put the burden on the homeowner to provide those calcs. Because again, we want to limit the admin costs for the city too. We don't want to be collecting utility money to hire staff to review credits. We want to collect utility money to clean the water, to treat the water, to reduce the flooding. So the philosophy of the credit policies are, let's give some simple credits that homeowners can do themselves and get their credit. Let's not limit it to just that. Let's let the innovation happen, but we want to keep it easy for the residents and for the city reviewing it. And credit policy, a good credit policy really kind of lets the city set direction. We like to see rain gardens and rain barrels on residential properties. That's what we're saying by making those the simple credits.